You promised me. Still love you though. Okay, y'all are a smart room, right? I know this because you went through hours of CE certification yesterday, and you have some more today, so you're committed. And quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me whether you're here for the CE or if you're here for me. I have you for the next hour. So, all right, I can tell you guys are a really smart room, right? Give yourself a round of applause. Let's do this over. Yes. And I can tell because you went to CE yesterday, you have CE today, and these are very important things. And it doesn't matter to me if you're here for the CE or if you're here for me. I have you for the next hour. So let's buckle up and let's enjoy the ride. We're going to talk about how AI is not here to replace you or to replace your team. Property management, as we know, is a relationship business, and it always will be. AI is a tool. It's a lever. It's something that will, like any type of efficiency tool, is going to make your job easier. Speaking of smart, got a lot of great questions yesterday. Jay, how do you do this? Or why do you do this? And those are just questions about my hair. So those of you who are wondering, 42 seconds from dry to high. 42 seconds. This is not by chance, people. Yes, this is not by chance. Well, how does this relate? Because this is an efficient system. It didn't always take me 42 seconds. It used to take me minutes. I didn't know which tool. I didn't know which product. I didn't know if I had to dry it or not. I didn't know what that looked like. But 42 seconds from dry to high. The only thing that makes me different from you is that I've been in the trenches and I've seen it and I work with people and I probably made more mistakes than you. I see myself as a professional problem solver. Quite honestly, if I get into conversations with people and I can't identify a problem to solve, I start getting bored really quickly. So it's like, all right, I'm busy asking questions. I want to know what problems can we solve? So I was an early adopter of AI 3 years ago. And as a coach, I just started to wonder, how can I apply this to actual concepts, actual parts of your business that will help you be more efficient and not overwhelmed. So a little bit about me. You heard, went from 0 to 350 doors in the first 2 years. Like, that was bananas. A lot of coffee, a lot of mistakes. I learned from those quickly. If you want, you can ask me about some of those later if you're new to the business. 1,400 homes sold in 15 years in Southwest Florida. I loved doing it. I didn't have a lot of great systems in place, and I wish I did, because it would have been a much more sustainable business. So how many of y'all are doing brokerage sales and property management here? Right? Man, I love you people. That's how I started. So I started selling in Southwest Florida, and I would put in these classified ads in Northeast, Midwest newspapers, little classified ads, just handwritten, something about Florida property coming by. People were buying contracts at the time. It was, you would have to sleep over in front of a community in order to win the opportunity to purchase one of their homes. Like, it was insane. So I was the guy who would camp out and get these people these deals. Well, all of a sudden the music stopped and they had to do something with their property. So at that point, I just asked someone, I'm like, well, I've never rented out property before, and you need this solution, right? There's only so many things we can do. So you have a choice, and I'll go down this road with you. So he said yes. Next person said yes. And then all of a sudden, through realtor referrals, we had 350 doors. Now, I was a realtor as well, remember. So if you're a realtor and you're not getting other realtor referrals in your property management business, I just want you to know that is totally possible as well. I'm not here to sell robots. I am coach, consultant, part therapist, because I like to solve problems and asking questions. And when you go to the therapist, what do? They usually just listen and ask you questions. Because, like a doctor, trying to diagnose, like, what's the root cause? Most of you, right, tell me, are you usually, and don't feel bad about this, are you usually too busy to kind of diagnose, like, what the hell is really going on here? Or to put something in place, a system in place to fix it, right? Like, that's most of us in this room. It's difficult to do. And if you're not that person, or if you haven't experienced that, kudos, please come talk to me after, because I need to figure out what magic formula you're using. So let's take the temperature here, right? How many people feel excited about AI? Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Okay, God bless you. A lot of people do not. How many people feel a little overwhelmed or like tired of hearing about AI? Yeah, so this is a similar split, right? It's like, I know. 3 years ago, we started hearing about AI and we're like, okay, we got to see, is this a fad? And turns out it's not. It's the fastest change. Literally, it took ChatGPT 5 days to get to 1 million users on their platform. 5 days, the fastest in history, right? Like, so we've seen how computers have helped us move forward, how the invention of the telephone, the Industrial Revolution, right? Like, this time has collapsed significantly. So if you're not thinking about how to implement AI in your business, today you will be, and you will walk away with an actionable step to where you can do it. Simple, simple, simple. We're going to break it down. And, you know, it's easy to get distracted, right? Like, you know, we try to do something, we try to have a plan, there's shiny objects. It's like, which tool do I use? How do I start? So we're going to cover those things today as well. And at the end of the day, the robot should be your friend. We're going to make that happen. So get your phones out real quick, because all the tools, and we'll wait a minute for this, right? So get out your phone, scan this QR code, and put your info in there. I'm going to send you the cheat code. I'm going to send you all of the AI tools, use cases, prompts, so that literally all you have to do is click on one of these and copy and paste. Who doesn't know how to copy and paste? Oh, I saw somebody's hand go up. I think you're a rascal, a little joker. Everybody knows how to copy and paste. Copy, paste, return. I'm going to give you the cheat code. So go ahead and fill that out so you have it, because you are going to need it, because the stuff that I show you will blow your mind in a way to where you used to think, I can't do this, I don't know where to start, to, holy crap, I have the easy button. I can start simple, right? I don't know about you, but one of the things that's a challenge for me is if I stop working out, exercising, it is so hard to get back into that routine. Like, I don't know why, but it's just so difficult. Well, I found that if I want to get back, I start by doing something small. So first day, I might just show up at the gym. I'm, not do anything. Who cares? Like, if I just show up, I'm going to, like, I took the first step. Next day, maybe I go and I do a push-up, right? Like, this is an extreme example, but, I do a push-up, or then the next day, maybe like, I do a couple push-ups. Recently, my wife, she signed us up for a gym. We have scooters. Yes, we are adults driving scooters that we own around Charlotte. And we scoot uptown at 5:30 a.m. We're 2 minutes from uptown Charlotte. And we scoot uptown and we go to this gym. And I love basketball. Actually, like, basketball hoop will travel right here, this guy. Literally, like, I just was in San Francisco. I didn't have a basketball with me. I had an Uber from the airport take me to the Nike store to get a basketball, in which I spent 3 hours shooting hoops because I enjoy it. So we go to this gym, and instead of working out and getting into the hard things, I'm like, you know what? I want to come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day. I get a basketball hoop, so I just started shooting, right? So something that you enjoy, that's small, that's easy, that's what we're going for here, guys, okay? And you will leave with the actionable tools. All right. So who finds themselves sometimes just putting more water into the bucket, trying to fix the problem? You might hear from your team. Actually, let me ask you guys this. I know we're a mixed room. There's a very, very unique room here, which is amazing. How many people are managing 0 to 50 doors right now? Put your hand up. Cool. All right. How many say 50 to 150? All right, awesome. 150 to 250? Yeah, giddy up. All right, 250 to 500. Woo, amazing. All right, 500 to 1,000? All right, we got a few there too. Amazing. All right, good. This is the perfect room, right? Because you guys get a lot of these things. You have team members, and most of you have team members, and you might hear from your team, you know, we need to hire another person, okay? Or you might think, you know, we have these great vendors here, right? Thank you, vendors. Like, everybody give the vendors a round of applause, please. Amazing. We got great vendors here, guys. And, you know, it can also be a shiny object, right? It can also be a distraction because you have to do the right things at the right time. So, you know, one of the things we caution our clients about is, and there's one person in particular here that will know what I'm saying, don't necessarily implement that software just yet. Wait a second. Let's talk about it first, right? Because implementing a software, doing more things, adding more to the bucket, if the bucket's leaking, right? If it's broken, and you'll know if it's broken because some of those symptoms are overwhelm, like not having enough time. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I still feel that way no matter what, because I don't know, we're entrepreneurs. We want to do more. We want to achieve more because it feels good, not because of significance, but it feels good, and we want to serve more people. So we find ourselves, you know, not having enough time in the day. So pouring more into the bucket without diagnosing those items, that's going to leave you with profit loss. It's going to be inefficient and leave you with profit loss. So today, we're going to talk about doing the right things at the right time. We're going to view AI as a tool, a lever, just like anything else that makes your office more efficient. Computers, Wi-Fi system, right? Whatever the thing is that makes you more efficient, that's how we view and that's how we demystify what AI brings to the table for you. Now, AI is not going to replace humans. You know, I've gotten this question a lot, right? It's like, well, how's this going to work? AI will change the way that we do work over time, and it already is, right? But if you're stuck in the weeds, a lot of times you don't know how that relates to the bigger picture. So you're still going to need to build the trust, right? And my warning is, don't be that last person, right, that got the computer for their office, right? You know, if everybody else, when computers came out, if they were starting to buy computers and they're like, we know that this is going to be a thing long term, every quarter, every month that you wait, you're just prolonging the eventual thing that you're going to need to do. And today, again, this is going to be the best AI talk that you've ever had because you're going to have actionable steps at the end that are very, very simple. and you're going to see other people doing them. So if you don't have enough time, AI is going to multiply your time. Not just for you, but if you have a team, we're going to talk about simple ways, simple tools that you can put in place and empower your team to do, okay? Hands up one more time for anyone that has at least one person working for them. Okay, good. So whether or not you have people working for you or if you are solo, right, then some of these concepts are just going to apply directly to you. And if you feel like, man, like I'm really like running out of time to do any of these things and I might need to hire someone, come talk to us afterwards. That's one of the things that we do for property management businesses. So not enough time in the day. I'm going to show you my little promise here, how to get 5 more hours in your week or your team member. And we're going to see how that adds up as well. So the reality is we're living in firefighting mode, right? You guys like these images that we have? AI generated, and guess who did it? My wife, who's afraid of spread. God bless her, I love her. I'm not talking bad about her, okay? She's watching this live. This is streaming in 27 countries. No, it's not. Somebody believe that though. So, Jessica, she's not good at spreadsheets. Like they cause her anxiety. She is terrible at calendars. Like, you know, I love you, babe. Awesome at a lot of things. But if she adds something to a calendar, I don't accept the invitation right away. I wait for the next 2 times she revises it, right? Or updates it. I just know better by now, but like, you know, but Jessica created all the AI images in here. Like she's becoming a whiz because she's taking one simple step. That's it. And she's doing the thing that matters the most in her role. So why people? Well, people, they're our biggest expense, but they're also our biggest opportunity. Massive opportunity. Now, AI, to tie it back into efficiency and being a tool, okay, the way that I view AI and really anything in life or in business is through efficiency. So profit, I view in terms of efficiency. And you are more efficient through 2 things. Either your people or your process. Like there's nothing else. It's your people or your process. Well, people's 55.6% of your total expenses in your business. This is taken from a 2022 national benchmarking study done by the National Association of Residential Property Managers. And it's no surprise, but people are becoming more efficient, more inefficient. They're not moving in the right direction. Now, imagine if you lead a team and you're short on hours because, guys, like, it's hard to manage our time, you know? Like, we have a lot on our plates. Some of us are doing HR, some of us are doing leasing and maintenance and running a business. Like, that's a lot. So, like, to work on time management, we typically think that's the last thing that I need to work on, which actually it's not. It's the first thing. And if you're in that mode, no surprise, so is your team. And I realized that it took me a while to realize this, but I realized this a couple of years ago on a coaching call, and I was like, wow, you know what? Your team is like, if you're like this right now, like I can imagine how your team feels. And my coaching client was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I get it. So what we see a lot is hire fast, right? Because we have a need to fill. Train slow because, you know, we don't have training systems in place. Most people don't, right? So I'm not going to ask anyone to raise their hands about who doesn't have training systems in place because we know most companies do. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like what we focus on in our company is how to have your team members train themselves. And I know right now you might be thinking, Jay, that's a little bananas, right? But don't tune out, stick with me, because I'm gonna show you exactly how they can do that with an AI tool. And how people in this room already that I know specifically, right? Look around, somebody might be on your left, your right, in front of you, who knows? They're doing it because I've helped them do it. Well, they were the ones who did it. I just gave them the ideas. Have a client, he's in Oregon, name's Jude. He gave me permission to tell this story. He hired a property manager, and the property manager was local, and he had to spend so much time over the course of 2 months, like taking this person out, training them on inspections, the way that he does business, like how to, where to put the lock boxes, setting the codes. Like he trained them on everything. And after 2 months, what do you think happened? He quit. Damn. And now it's over again. It's like dating the same person 4 times and thinking that they're going to change. Like reality is, like, I tried it, they don't. Because people have to want to change, but that's a different story. My therapist will tell you about that. You may have seen the headlines, robot with like the red eyes burning out, they're going to take over the world. You don't have to fear the robot. Like, that's a scare tactic because clicks sell. We know this in social media and everything we see out there. We have to be discerning. Just like with AI and the results, we have to be discerning. Yesterday in your CE, you all had a couple of legal updates, right? Yeah, we have to be very careful with what we do with AI prior to consumer. There's some high-risk scenarios and some low-risk scenarios. So knowing the difference is important. Fear does not move companies forward, though. If you have a scarcity mindset, or if you're fearful, and if you get paralyzed, and if you don't take action, that will put you out of business. And it doesn't mean that it's going to make you regress, but it means it's going to keep you stagnant. And stagnant is not okay. Not right now. Not the way business is changing. Not the way, is days on market increased in this market? Are we seeing properties sit longer? Yeah. Are we seeing sellers take their property off the market and put it on the market for rent? What I hear is opportunity. Opportunity, but you have to take that opportunity. You have to not be scared to take that opportunity because it's right in front of you. It's the easiest opportunity to take. And you guys are here in this room, and I know many of you are going to take that first step because you know how important it is. I'm going to simplify. I'm going to make you not scared of the robot. We're going to turn the robot into your friend so you can look forward to that. AI simplifies. AI, think of AI as the Iron Man suit. Iron Man suit, super cool. But without Tony Stark, doesn't do anything, right? I mean, like, it doesn't run. It's complicated, hard to figure out, right? But if you put on the AI suit, you have Tony Stark. AI is going to make strong teams stronger, and you're still the star. You're still the hero. You're still the person who's moving the company forward. You're still the leader that people are going to look at. How about a cautionary tale, or 3 of them, right? So Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million. Yeah. They laughed them out of the room. Not because the CEO's a dummy, but they resisted change. They got complacent. They didn't move forward. Kodak invented digital photography. Most people don't know this because when they think digital photography, they don't think Kodak. Why did they bury it? Yes, because they did not want to cannibalize their film sales. They resisted change because, in my opinion, they were being selfish. They weren't moving in the direction that would benefit people, right? You know, it's kind of like we have this theory that light bulbs are created to only last a certain amount of time, even though they could probably double their lifespans just so that you buy more light bulbs. I'm not sure if that's true. If we have any light bulb experts in the room, please see me after this talk. So, and then Borders thought Amazon was a fad. Borders had launched their e-reader before Amazon launched Kindle. And look what happened. I mean, Borders is out of business now too. So if you have had the opinion or have found yourself saying, this is how we've always done it, or have someone on your team that said that, that will put you out of business. You must change your mindset. There's probably only a few people in here that are actually saying that or have somebody on their team saying that. Please, please, please change your mindset. You have the choice. You can be Blockbuster or you can be Netflix. You can be stuck, which stuck will put you out of business. And I'm sorry, guys, like, I'm not saying that to be a jerk. Like, since most of you are doing brokerage as well, it might seem, because, well, it used to seem this way for me. I thought my property management business for the first 7 years was running profitably. But what I found is that I was losing money in that business, but it was masked by the tremendous amount of money I was able to make selling real estate, right? We know we get, like, those commissions are big. And, like, you know, if you sell 20, 30, 100 homes a year, you don't really, I didn't take the time to run the numbers and to see how much I was making in property management. So don't let that mask you. Get clear on your numbers. Take action, be the one that goes first. If you've seen Talladega Nights by the esteemed Will Ferrell, if you're not first, you are last. If you ain't first, you're last. So we're going to talk about 3 impact zones today, okay? There's a lot of tech out there, like thousands of tech. And there's like 500 apps, but, like, you do not need all of those things. Like, I hear often, I need AI. I need to figure out what I need to do with AI. I need to do the research. You do not need to do the research. Trust me, there's way too much out there of what you need. You need to listen to the right people. You have to follow the ones that have the arrows in their back already, the ones that have made the mistakes and know which tools, right? So I'm going to give you those direct answers so that you guys have focus. Focus, focus, focus. Focus and a plan, right? Without a plan, without, failing to plan is a plan to fail. We know that, yeah. Small shifts decide the race. So AI is not going to fire your company. It's going to free them. It's going to empower them, make them stronger. People think, right? People build relationships. This is a relationship business. It's about human connection, right? So the people we need them to have more time. We need them to be able to take a step back and actually think, how could I solve this problem differently? What if you or someone on your team actually had the mental bandwidth to take a step back in situations and ask yourself just a few questions like, how could I handle this problem differently? What are 3 different possible solutions to this outcome, right? Especially for your team, like, that will give them the tools in order to solve problems without having to always come to who? You guys, right? We want to help people avoid that. We want to get rid of the tribal knowledge. AI is your co-pilot, right? AI is not going to land the plane, but AI is going to keep you awake, give you coffee, They're going to give you the checklist, right? Or they're going to do the checklist for you. Like AI is just your co-pilot. You're still landing the plane. Task doers versus outcome owners. Most companies we see, and we've helped thousands of property management companies, like probably over 5,000 discovery calls we've had over the past decade between myself, my business partner, and our sales team. What we find is that most people have task doers, people that check boxes, people that wait for the next task, right? They wait for direction. This is a task doer. And task doers, like, they solve the problem for a while, but what got you here won't get you there, because task doers are not going to be the ones who can, instead of waiting for direction, what if somebody said, hey, these are the results that you were needing, right? Like yesterday, we asked one of our team members who is doing a quiz, what property manager animal are you? Like, what spirit animal are you? And we just gave her, she asked for some feedback. We just gave her some quick feedback. And she then just went, redid the whole damn thing, added things that we didn't even ask for, but were the right things, because she was able to take a step back and think critically. Instead of, this may have happened to you before, like it's happened to me in the past, someone coming to you and asking you, hey, how do I do this? And then they make the revisions, and then they come to you, and then you're like, no, that's not it. And now you're starting to get frustrated, and then it comes back to you. And then you're like, no, that's not it either. Like, that vicious cycle does not have to continue, right? Going from babysitting to actual leadership. So let's talk about zone one, your operations. Because you're laughing. This one's cute, right? So, I think it took Jessica like 30 minutes to get this image. So please really let it sink in and appreciate it. So operations first. The plumbing is your business. Okay. So all the different pipes, those are your maintenance processes, leasing, marketing, onboarding new owners, and if there's bottlenecks, if there's clogs, then those pipes, they're going to explode. Okay. And when you don't have good flowing pipes in your business, when you don't have good systems and workflows, you can't do anything else. Because think about every new property that you add on, if your operations are like bottlenecked, if you have issues there, you're just onboarding more problems. And that stinks. That's why a lot of people, when we ask them, like, they either want to add more doors or they want to fix the problem that they're not sure that they have, because every time they do add a new door, it just creates another headache. So AI, your little friendly guy there in the middle with his wrenches, like, he's the one that fixes it. And that's what we're going to position this as today. Now, we're talking about your great vendor partners, and like, they're not going to like me saying this, but they can be the best decision that you make, or they can be the worst. Because if you get a new software, or you sign up for a tenant screening, or implement new inspections, but you don't have a system for it, right? If you don't have the team to actually implement it. Like, one of the things that we found, for example, is that you have a property management software, and let's say you're gonna switch to a new one. So maybe you have, Billium to Rentvine, right? Little shout out here for Rentvine. Rentvine is here. You can come see them. Great property management software, by the way. Really, really great. So you're gonna implement Rentvine, but in order to switch that over, you need time. You need to have a plan. You need to figure out, how is this going to affect other people? And that bottleneck, like putting that pressure on you or on your team, like, that can really stall everything. That can make it a worse thing, because when you come back from this conference, you might have some ideas and go talk to your team, and they're like, oh shit, Cindy's coming back. Because Cindy comes and she's like, all right, guys, I got all these cool ideas. We're going to do all these cool things, and they're like, not again. Because if we put more water in that bucket, like, it's just going to overflow or it's just going to leak out. It's just going to drain our time. So like they dread that. Change management's tough. Change is hard, right? So change management and in a company culture is extremely difficult. You don't need more logins. Logins and the software stack. Yeah, I know it's bad. The logins are bad. So one of the goals is to reduce logins, have more systems play together. And this is why this is step one, because choosing the right partners, this should be your easy button, right? If you ask the right questions, all right? So if you're not asking at least this question, please start asking it. What does your AI roadmap look like? I asked one of the main process and CRM softwares this same question last year, like this time last year. And the sales rep said, no, we don't have one. And there's CRM and process software. And I'm like, ooh, huge red flag. Like we got to lean in and start identifying who does. Now I can tell you one company that does is Aptly, A-P-T-L-Y. They are a fantastic AI forward company. Still trying to figure it out like we all are. Any of your partners that are implementing AI, look, I'll be honest with you, they're still trying to figure it out too, like, and figure out the use cases. So we have to do it safely. That's why we take small steps and we measure. And that's why I'm giving you guys the small steps today. All right, step two, we have to get off the hamster wheel. I had a mentor that told me something that sounded silly at the time, but I understand how profound it is now, is that you have to slow down in order to speed up. And I was like, but at the time, I was like, but I just like going fast. Like, I mean, part, like it felt really good, but also part, like I was chasing my tail and I was just running and doing the same thing. And what happens when you keep running in circles, doing the same thing over and over again? That's the definition of what? Insanity. And I know y'all, we established that y'all are smart people. You are not insane. So we're going to get you off this hamster wheel. Like, remember that Jude before from Oregon? Hire, train, quit, repeat. Didn't do anything different. Didn't do anything different. Finally, we hired him a remote team member, and that remote team member is a remote property manager who onboarded themselves into the company, right? Because you don't necessarily have to do your own HR because, well, you know, that's another hat that you would have to wear. Like, I'm terrible at hiring people. That's why I have people to hire people. Like our company name is Better Who. If you've not ever read the book, The Who, Not the How, highly recommend it. Is that Dan Kennedy, Matt? Dan Sullivan. I knew it was one of those Dans. Dan Sullivan, great book. Don't love to read. I listen to the audio book, and they have one available. But that's a great book, right? The Who, Not the How. Because if you have the right who, they're going to figure out how. And you have to be able to trust them a little bit, right? Which is difficult. So like, as you can tell, like AI is a concept. It's a tool that fits into your business. So we're not just talking about AI here, but we're relating everything, everyday practices to AI. So not only are you getting the answers to the complex questions you have around AI, but you're also getting shortcuts for your business that are going to be powerful and meaningful and proven. And you don't often get that in the same room. So I encourage you all, when you get free time at maybe at lunch, go see your vendors, of course. But after that, like, establish a couple new friends and have a little mastermind, right? Being around the right peer group, being around other people who hold you accountable to have a small step, it's very powerful. Like, we need that. Kind of like when I go to the gym with my wife. The reason why she asked me to go with her at 5:30 in the morning, I mean, I know she wanted to spend time with me, or I think she did, but also she wanted accountability, right? She wanted to make sure that she did it. And I'm happy she did. So we have to get you to stamp, to jump off this hamster wheel. Okay, here we go. This is a stretch. You down with the SOPs? You down with SOPs? Now, I am going to base the lack of response and enthusiasm to that, not based on my musical abilities, but based on the fact that most people do not have SOPs documented, right? So that's why we didn't get the reaction we were looking for. Had nothing to do with my musical abilities. But we don't. And when we don't have SOPs, it just runs chaos, right? Because everybody's doing things a different way. And we learned yesterday, I think, I wasn't in your legal CE class, but you need to treat people the same way, right? Like if you have residents applying, but you're making exceptions for different people and not across the board, guys, fair housing violation, like that'll put you out of business. Like, it's not just about systemizing business, it's about protecting you and keeping you in business. And it's not surprising that most people don't have SOPs documented. Standard operating procedures, by the way, just the ways that we do business, the step-by-steps, that's what SOPs are. Because it's overwhelming. We don't know where to start. For 10 years, when I had my property management company, I didn't have any steps in place. I had a manual this is ridiculous. It was called WWJD. What would J do? And it had like some things about like, this is how I would communicate to people, and and nobody ever read it. And I don't blame them. Like, it's like if you have a 12-page document, like that gives you the way to do business, like you don't read it. So if you guys have SOPs, or if you have operations manuals and you're expecting your team to know the answers in there, I'm going to tell you a little secret. They're not going to read it for a number of reasons. But one of them is that they don't have the time. It takes so much time to look through something, try to get an answer, right? And attention, your team's attention, our attention, do you think that we have a higher attention span today or 3 years ago? Our attention span's going down. There's just more to do. I mean, let's face it. There's more that we have to do. There's more information. There's more validation of information that we get on social media. When you scroll through your social media apps, whatever you're using, you probably scroll a little faster than you used to, right? But there's more ads, more things that are trying to stop you from doing that. So our attention is really stretched thin. Okay, so imagine if you could document an SOP in 2 minutes. Boom, 2 minutes. The result, people depend less on you. Ta-da! Here's your first tool. This tool is so simple, so simple. Anyone in this room, can literally get Loom AI and you record a video, okay? So you have to have a computer. Does anyone not have a computer? All right, cool. We're in a good place. All right, so literally you just record it, and then after, this is what you get. You get an SOP created, and Loom wasn't invented for this purpose. I've been using Loom videos for like 4 years before they came out with the AI, because Loom is a way to be more efficient, okay? To get my hair done faster. But to shoot a short video, like a 1 or 2 minute video, instead of, hey, can we meet about this? Holy crap, how many times have you guys heard that from somebody? Can we set a meeting about this? Or how many times have you said that to somebody on your team? Like, let's have a meeting. Like, no, just send me a Loom, please. Send me a Loom. And then you can also get to it when you want. You can watch it on 2x speed if you like doing that. Me, big fan. But this is what you get with Loom AI. So you literally just like if you had somebody sitting on the side of you, right, like many of you have before, and you're showing them how to do something, record the screen and use Loom AI. All you gotta do is click the button, and then the video will be processed automatically, and you will get a step-by-step workflow with screenshots, with highlights over where the button was clicked, with the steps. And if you read through it after, and if there's anything that needs to be changed, right, like you can edit it very simply. But one Loom, one doc, super simple. So this is an easy takeaway. Something like this can save you those 5 hours a week I was telling you before while building your business. And now, guess what? You are an AI forward business because you're doing something that has AI. That's the first step, right? And it's like that chemical that gets fired off in our brain. I don't know if it's oxytocin, serotonin, I don't know what it is, dopamine, but whatever the hell the chemical is, you got those shooting through your head and you're like, I can do this, right? You feel good. So now you can just do it more. And it's going to continue to make your business more efficient. And I can guarantee you right now, this is time for early adoption. It's 3 years in. AI is 3 years new, but it's still time for early adoption. You can still be an early adopter by doing these things, and you have to, quite frankly. If you got time to text your buddy about, the football game on Saturday, you got time to shoot a Loom, just takes a couple minutes. And I think there's a saying, or at least I have a saying, that every Loom video you shoot is just a little chunk of your brain that you get back. And that's kind of nice, right? Because we feel stretched so thin and we don't have to. So in Virginia, how many pages on average is our lease? 14, 20, 18? Okay. Most leases, 10, 20, 30 pages of a lot of it legalese, right? But also a lot of it is very specific into the way that we do business, or we expect our tenants or owners to, act. Like, we set the rules, we set the expectations in there, right? So how many people on your team would actually go and read through the entire lease and be able to memorize it? Whoa, like that is a lot. Missy, one of our consulting clients, well, this is what she did. So we have an AI mastermind in our group, and Missy said, "Hey Jay, I took our lease and I uploaded it into ChatGPT, and I asked it to create a 100-question quiz." And I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." I'm like, "How are you going to use it?" For new team members to self-train, right? Because they'll be able to go through and take the quiz. For current team members, to make sure that they know the important things in the quiz. And now that quiz, that lease, it's in AI, it's in a shared AI space so that anyone can go there for an easy answer, right? Instead of somebody coming to ask you or one of the other leaders on your team, when is rent considered late? Some people don't know that still. Do we charge a fee if rent is late? How do I charge that fee, right? Like, when do I post the notice? When do I send an email? How do I post the notice? Like, these are a lot of questions, but these are all real questions, guys. And if you have that in a shared AI space, they don't have to ask you. That was a big inflection. They don't have to ask you. You might have gotten a little scared. You might have thought I was going to sing again, but don't worry. But they ask the shared AI space, right? So another one of my clients, extremely smart human being, you guys might know her. She said, "Hey Jay, what else? Lease? That's child's play. What else can I add into that shared AI space? Courtney Parks, everybody. Courtney Parks is in the room. Very intelligent, powerful, strong human being. Let's give her a clap. Come on. Courtney also, she put a lot of hard work into what's happened in this conference, putting this together, getting the attendees here and the vendors here, and improving the programming because of you, and she cares so much. So I really wanted to acknowledge that, Courtney. But Courtney's also very smart. And, you know, Courtney said, what else, right? So the fee list, what she charges, the welcome packet, move in, move out checklist, like, you know, all the things. Resident selection criteria, one of those things that's very important. And at this point, when you upload it into a shared AI space that knows you, there's a much, 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 much lower chance of getting a hallucination or a wrong answer. In fact, there's a way that you can do it where you don't even have to worry about that, and you know you're going to get the right answers. Short story about how the first time I found out that AI will flat out lie to your face. My business partner and I, we were at a VRMA event, vacation rentals, and we're typically not in that space. But we wanted to experiment, check it out. Like, okay, is this somewhere where we can serve? Does this work for us? And the night before the event, we're in the hotel, and I started asking Claude, which is like ChatGPT, but named Claude. And I asked Claude, you know, who are the regular attendees at this event? And I got some really cool answers, some really good stuff, right? Like, how many people were here last year? Like, what's the opportunity for us? I was asking these questions, and I'm getting these really great answers. I'm like, Matt, I'm like, look, dude, I'm like, Claude's saying all these great things. Like, this is going to be a home run. And Matt, I don't know if I can use colorful language in here, but hey, so Matt called bullshit. And he's like, I don't believe Claude for a second. I don't like to be wrong, but in that case, I'm like, let me check. So I was like, Claude, where are you getting this information from? And all of a sudden, get this really emotional response. I am so sorry, Jay. Like, I made that up. There was no information about this that I could find, so I just put together something that I thought that you would like. And I was like, oh no. First of all, Matthew's right. And second of all, like, AI can lie to you. Like, this is not cool. Like, AI is like one of my kids now. No, Dad, I wasn't eating Skittles in the car. Dude, we got a rainbow. Come on. So then, it actually very interesting, AI Claude continued to apologize in every answer moving forward. It's like, hey, remember back when, I lied to you? I'm still really sorry for that. I'm not going to do it again. So like, I kind of gave up on Claude, but I learned that AI can lie to you. We have to be careful about hallucinations because they exist. Now, when you're able to buy back your time, those 5 hours a week that we were talking about, you'll be able to step back and you'll be able to have the independence to think a little bit more critically of, okay, what questions can I ask in order to make sure it's not lying to me, right? Because when we're moving too fast, when you or someone on your team is moving too fast, let's say they have to reply to an angry tenant. Whoa, like that's usually high stakes. If not, like, hey, I'm calling an attorney. Like we don't want to hear the attorney word, right? Like I'm calling an attorney. We have mold in here. Like everything's falling apart. If your team member responds the wrong way, like stakes are high. We have to reply with empathy. Our AI needs to know us and it needs to not hallucinate, right? Owner onboarding. This is the most critical, the most fragile step in our business. Who believes that, by the way? Owner onboarding. Okay, I'm going to make you a believer. Sales to onboarding, sales has a certain mindset, right? They want to close the door. They want to get it done, okay? But if you are currently, if the salesperson, if that's you, and you're currently doing the work of marketing the listings, right? In addition to putting the keys on and the lockbox, getting the description, doing the walkthrough, then following up and getting the leases and screening the leases and getting back and following up with the owner. With days on market so high, guys, and increasing, you should be talking to your owners or somebody on your team every single week, getting a price modification and getting the right one. Okay, if you don't have the time to do that, guess what? The promises that you made in owner onboarding, if you can't deliver on those, what's that term? Buyer's remorse. Like, that is critical during those steps. So all the time, all the money, all the effort, the human resources that you put into acquiring that door, why don't we make it stick? Making it stick is the thing that we need to do, right? Like, and not just making it stick, not just keeping the owner long term, but also if they have a bad experience, that sets the tone to what they think they're going to get for the next 3 years. So if your average owner is with you for, let's say, 3 years, you just set the tone of what level of service, and you just showed who you are, right? Because it's like, if we make a promise to them and then we don't deliver, then that's the way that they're going to think about it. Same thing with tenants. So like, it's the most high stakes area in our business, and it could put us out of business if we don't get it right. So high stakes. Scott, in that AI mastermind that I do, Scott had said, I asked him, I'm like, what should we do it on? And he's like, oh, owner onboarding. So we had, I think, 20 people in there, and people that even were not able to open a spreadsheet. They knew how to copy and paste. We had one master prompt, which you'll have in that template. So if you got the template, good on you. There was one master prompt. We just copied and pasted it, and then we just gave it a short example. And in 60 minutes, every single person in there, even ones that couldn't create a spreadsheet or log into a spreadsheet, they all had a solid framework of their owner onboarding journey. So this is a way, if you're following me, this is a way where we take concepts and problems in our business and apply AI in the simplest way to solve the problems, right? We don't hear about it this way most of the time, but this is the simplest way. Now the shift, systemizing outcomes, okay? So being able to take that knowledge that we were talking about before and getting it into one place, right? In one place where everything is clear and repeatable and independent of you, and not having to ask you, right? Not having everybody having to ask you the questions. So this is just a reminder. I'll give you that QR code later as well if you didn't get a chance to scan it, because now you're able to really connect how powerful these tools are to your business and the use cases. So it's nice to copy and paste. We're talking about the why and the where, but we only have, what I originally thought was 90 minutes. And I'm like, well, that's like the length of the average movie. And I'm going to have to, and I talk for 50 minutes. So I'm like, I'm going to have to act out an entire movie. So I brought a few cue cards. But yeah, so at the end we'll have that. That's the how, and whether it's 50 minutes or an hour and a half, there's 30 plus use cases, and we can't cover them all. We're just covering the ones that can really move your business forward and are simple. So yeah, running in circles, burnout. Who's received an email from a tenant like in all caps? Ridiculous! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. We've put in a request for our toilet that's been leaking like 2 days ago, and no one's gotten in touch with us, and like, maybe that's the case, okay? Like, good on them, right? But if I don't have a response, or someone at the property, I'm going to fly a hot air balloon outside of your office. I'm going to call ABC News and I'm calling my attorney. Well, that puts a lot of stress on whoever is getting that email. And what's typically happening? Now, that's the most pressing fire they need to put out. So, but they're still distracted because they're doing all the other things. So when you're distracted and you get pulled away, like, your work quality compromises. I know when I'm able to do deep work and focus on something, I do a much better job. I'm sure you guys are like me when it comes to that, right? So this throws them off. They'll be able to, with that shared AI space, they'll be able to create that email way faster. Who uses AI or ChatGPT to create emails? Yeah, most of you, right? Like, that's the ninja. That's the superpower that most people have been equipped with so far, right? Well, the way that I'll show you how emails can be done will improve the quality of your emails and will also improve it for your team. But it does help you significantly. Like, I had, sometimes I use my chat to respond to emails or text messages to my wife because it's high stakes, right? I want to get the right answer. My AI knows me, and I don't always word things the right way. I mean, that's what she tells me. So I want to be careful in the way I word things, right? So remember the hamster wheel from before. AI is the gears. AI is what's going to move you forward. And if you keep running in circles, if you keep doing those same things, if you keep hustling harder, maybe you're okay with that. Like, if you are, you also need to be okay with the fact that you may be out of business in the next 2 years. I don't say that to scare you or, again, to, like, put a bad thought in your head about your business, but you have to be forward thinking. You have to do these things and you have to start. So that's why we're doing the easy button today. So you'll get the forward momentum with the gears, and then everybody's rowing in the same direction. So we had a company, about 200 doors, and they wanted to start slow with AI. So I said, what's the simplest step that you can commit to, and who's the person on the team that would do it? So they had 200 doors, and I think they had 4 team members, and they said Mario, he's the one, he can free up 5 hours a week and he can start this project. So I asked him, I'm like, what does success look like as far as that project, right? Like, let's just define the 1 or 2 simple things that you want him to do. So he said, okay, we'll document 1 SOP a week, right? Which is 2 to 5 minutes to do. Cool, like, easy button. And we'll have him create that shared AI space. That takes a little bit longer, but, I asked him, I'm like, well, how much time does he need to take to do that? Like, when do you want that done by? Within 2 weeks. So he was clear. His team member had buy-in, and it was documenting 1 SOP a week and putting it in the shared knowledge space, and then having the rest of the team do it. After 6 months, we did a test here. We did a time study right out of the gate with all 4 team members. And then we did a time study 6 months later. And on average, they saved 6 hours a week. Each individual, 6 hours a week. And it was simple. It was simple to do, right? So starting simple, taking the first steps. So where do you start, right? Because, like, we're going over some different tools and use cases. At the same time, you'll have those additional use cases in that template that you guys get. But we have to identify one specific area. So, just think, do you want to have more time? Do you want your team to make less mistakes? We're going to be going over a few more examples, and maybe one of those are your example. But you have to just pick one problem area, one problem you want to solve. And when your team is able to help when they're able to participate in solving that problem, then this goes from them feeling stuck to empowered. If you have a team member that feels empowered and has the time to do things and doesn't feel like they're stretched too thin, your company is going to operate so much smoother. The things that you've wanted to do in your business, the things that you've tried and failed, whether it's implementing a virtual assistant in your business or whether it's implementing a new software, if you've tried and failed before, you won't again because your team's going to be empowered and they're going to have more time. And result for you, more time to work on your business rather than in your business. Because that's why you started this. That's why you went on this journey, the entrepreneurial journey. You did this so you create more freedom, so you could create a vehicle that's going to produce revenue consistently and create legacy. Like, that's the dream, and that's still possible. If you're not on that track right now, like, don't worry, like that can absolutely happen. But you want to have time, you want to have freedom, and in order to do that, we have to work on the business. Think about that 5 hours a week I was talking about before. And why don't we multiply that? 4 weeks in a month, 20 hours a month, times 12 months, 240 hours, times 3 team members, 720 hours. That's 16 full weeks of resource, right? If you have a team of 7 by chance, that's a whole new team member that you just added without adding a team member, and a much happier and more empowered team. And AI goes from being like a cool idea to being bottom line focused. This is where we're able to tie in how simplified implementation of AI will lead directly to profit. Now that we talked about operations, let's talk about growth and a couple cool growth tools. Well, I'm not sure if this is the case in this room, but I'm sure half of you or more it is. We think that if we're in growth mode, we think we need more leads. What do we do to get more leads? Because that's what a lot of people would initially come to us for, right? Either to help them diagnose the problem or, hey, I want to grow my business. So in order to grow your business, you don't necessarily need more leads, but what you need to do is you need to be able to follow up and follow through with the leads that you already have. But if you don't have enough time, then you're not the first one to call. And speed to lead to speed is the most important thing, right? Like reaching out, being that first person. After you have that conversation with them, if you tell them that you're going to send them a follow-up email, send them that follow-up email. But if you get distracted because team member A is like, hey, I got this issue that just came up. Like, the vendor was supposed to be at the property at 6 o'clock and you're like, oh my God, stop talking about this. And, you just want to get that deal, but you don't have the time. Well, that follow-up, right? This is what we're going to solve for first, because I don't want you making the mistake of thinking I need more leads. What we need to do is show you how AI can take the leads that you already have and help you close them. Because once you have operations fixed, now you can start taking on the growth. So follow up and follow through, needing more time to be able to do that. Now, if you have a funnel that's leaking, meaning if there's missed touches, if there's not a follow-up campaign, if you don't reach out to them or follow up with them while they're a hot lead, if you don't have any campaigns in place that if somebody says, I'm going to be ready in 90 days. In the past, I have been, and if you can relate, that's okay, you don't have to put your hand up. I have been one of those people that printed out all of the leads that came in when I was, the BDM, and I would have them in paper and I would follow up with them that way. And then I would move the paper to the bottom and follow up with the next day. I would put the date that I'm supposed to follow. Massively inefficient. I think about those days and I'm like, I don't know how I grew. But having systems in place and creating marketing campaigns and doing it in a very simple way because you have a shared AI space, like it just makes it super simple. And then it'll lead to more deals converting. So this is a side note just applied to your business, not necessarily to AI. If you are not tracking your conversion rate for your sales, the leads that come in, the simplest things to get started to track, whether it's you or someone else, is number one, the amount of leads that come in on a weekly basis. So, I mean, like that's easy to track, even if you want to use a spreadsheet. And then you track the amount of those leads, right? You just track the amount of appointments that you went on. And appointments sometimes for you might be face-to-face, it might be over Zoom, it might be on a second phone call. Whatever it is, call that an appointment. And then just the third number you track are which ones signed PMAs. Now, any given time, you can look and see what the gap is. Which thing do you need to fix? Is it from leads to appointment? And if it's from leads to appointment, then we know that we have to solve for that. There's something wrong, right? We just think of, well, what's happening in that process that might not be working? And appointment to conversion, if you're only converting, say, 20% of the leads that you initially talk to, you know that's a problem to solve for. Maybe you need better leads that are warm, right? Maybe you need a different source of leads. Maybe you don't have the time to follow up with them, and your skill set on actually closing them and your mindset around what to say and the fees that you charge and how to, justify those fees and not overcharge someone. If you're having all that negative self-talk, those might be reasons why you're not converting at a higher level. So I just want you to think about that and don't think about growth just in terms of getting more leads. AI wearables. All right, I'm not wearing mine today. Bad, Jay. But this is a tool called Plod. Is anybody wearing their Plod pin in here today? All right, there we go. I love it. You got a Plod note. Awesome. So if you've been on an appointment, right, a presentation, and you're hearing a lot of things, right? Your prospects telling you about, the bedrooms, the baths, the story behind it, like whether, depending on who your client is, might be an absentee landlord, might be an investor, but whatever it is, like there's important details that you want to catch. But you just might be thinking about, shit, what are the things that I need to do when I get back? Like, what's going on? Was it squirrel? What? Like, these are all real things. So we don't capture all of the notes or all of the important things. And maybe you made a commitment to do something for them, but like you forgot. Now you drop the ball. Even if they sign the PMA, you're not delivering on the promise that you made. And now that expectation is set for the rest of the lifetime. Do you see how how all those concepts tie together? And this is how we fix them in a very, very simple way. Plod just captures all of the notes, right? It's your note taker. And then it will give you afterwards, like the action items, the important things that you need to know. If you have an assistant, you just send that to your assistant. They'll put it in the CRM and set you a follow-up task or reminder, or do the task or reminder. And you can be thinking about anything you want at that time. You can think about a 2-week vacation that you want to go on because your company is running so efficiently. You can think about what you want to make for dinner. You can think about shooting basketball hoops at 5:30 in the morning, whatever floats your boat. But you have AI working for you. And AI is your, Plod is your performance enhancer, right? I like to think of it as your performance enhancer. Your unfair advantage, but I mean, it's fair because you're actually taking action and other people aren't. All right, I know many of you have said this either out loud or to yourself. I need to do more social. I need to create more video. Well, my answer outside of this presentation is maybe, but let's go with the premise that you do, because attention is very hard to get, and we need to have TOMA, top of mind awareness. It's hard to do all on our own. It's hard to do, right? So what we usually see is someone will create one post, right? They'll create one piece of content, they'll create one post, and then they'll let it die. They'll just take that one piece and then they'll just let it die. It's like having an apple seed, growing one apple, and then throwing away the rest. You know, you have the tool, you have the thing, right? So AI multiplies. Okay, so there's a tool called Descript. Now, you may have been worried, like maybe why you didn't get started, is that you're afraid of what to say, right? You don't know what to say. You're afraid of how you're going to sound, or trying to get it perfect and what the sound in the background is going to look like, how you look, where you're looking. Look, this seems like a safe space. Is this a safe space? Yeah, come on, please, guys. I'm going to give you a confession. Is this a safe space? Oh, thank you so much. All right, confession, guys. My first business video that I shot was about 10 years ago, and I usually do not dress up like this, but for you all, I want to make a great impression. But I used to dress up suit and tie all the time, okay? So I had on a suit and tie. It happened to be a three-piece suit, and I was recording my first video, and I was sweating, like not just because it was hot, but just because of like the situation, and I was stressful. And I had a small office. I had a lavalier mic, which I didn't know at the time. I never used one. So like there's a cord that's like hanging and I'm tripping on it when I'm going back to like to the phone. And to get one video, it took me 88 takes. 88 takes in 7 hours. Oh my God. And I watched that video at the end and I was like, this is awful. Oh my God. Well, if I had a tool like Descript back then, way easier. Way easier. To know what to say, literally just go to a YouTube video and watch some content that other property managers are saying, right? Either in your market or another market. That'll give you some ideas. Or use ChatGPT to ask for inspiration, right? And I have some of those prompts that you can cut and paste. Yes, cut and paste in that template for you. But you shoot that video, and then I'll find when I send this to my team afterwards, they will most likely see 343 filler words that I've said. So, right? Like, and I'm afraid of saying those as well, but not anymore, because I know that she will click that button and it will remove all of those filler words. And first time I saw that, I was skeptical, and I'm like, no, come on, it's going to sound ridiculous. But it didn't miss a beat. Like, it was great. Studio sound, right? So I didn't have to worry about my mic anymore. I actually just shot a camera just right in front of me, point and shoot. And just clicking that button that says studio sound, that made all of the background noise disappear. The text there, right? It's like you just got to know which one to use for which use case. And then eye contact, which I thought that one was like the one I was most skeptical about. And I'm like, that's kind of creepy. Like if I'm moving my eyes over here for some reason, like, because, you know, I was reading a script, it's going to redirect my eyes and like make them towards the video. Like, how's that going to look? But it works like a charm. Never had a problem. Yep. Now it's just 3 buttons. Wish I had it back then. All right. So we already established that getting people's attention is so difficult. So it's like, what are we going to do now? With attention getting shorter, if we're recording those same videos and only creating once, posting once, and letting it die, then we just have so much more to do. But AI solves that problem now as well. There's Opus Clip, an inexpensive tool. And this one, you don't need to do 3 clicks like Descript. This one, just one. Boop. 1 click. Josh Sissel, one of my coaching clients, he literally, he turned into, he got TikTok famous. And this was all from like single videos that he'll shoot, and he'll just point and click, and then you press the button in Opus Click, and it creates all of these different videos. It puts the captions on them. It gives you the best content. It is even self-critical. It grades itself on all the video shorts that it creates for you. So it's like, oh, this one got a 96. And I'm like, well, that's probably a good one. Let me look at it. And then if you want to make changes on it, you can make changes on it. But most of the time, it comes out exactly how it should look. He's getting thousands of views on his videos now, which is top of mind awareness. You have the seeds, you have the apples, like, let's grow a harvest. All right, so old leads. Again, we established you don't necessarily need new leads if you have a leaky funnel, if you can do better with your follow-up, with your time. So we have old leads. Your old leads might look like mine used to, which is having like piles of paper. But I encourage you, if you're not currently using one, please get a CRM of some sorts, right? Start adding those leads that are in your phones that are that you printed out. Like, start adding them. Here's a simple system that changed the way that I processed my leads, is that I just made a rule and I blocked 15 minutes on my calendar every day, non-negotiable. Because if it's important enough, you'll do it. Kind of like if you, anyone have or have had kids before, right? Younger kids, okay? And some of you may have had to pick them up at school. If you're supposed to pick them up at 3, is that a maybe, or do you do it? Like, you do it. You made a commitment. So, you're supposed to pick up your kids, you do it. Same thing here, right? Make it a non-negotiable. If you want to do it, if you need to do it, make it a must. 15 minutes I would block at the end of my day. And that was just to add whatever new leads that I had coming in, just to add them into my my CRM. That was it. So then I knew every day all of my leads were going into my CRM, because when they don't, it wasn't me throwing paper away. I was throwing away like 50s and 100s, like $50 bills, $100 bills. Like, that's what I was throwing away. I was throwing away my money. Because if we have old leads in our system, if we have people that didn't want to do business because they weren't ready for another 120 days because they were building a house somewhere else, man, that's hard to follow up with them without a system. So if you get them in there, then you have the opportunity to do a campaign, and it's just a prompt. I have a prompt for it in that database, and it will give you 5 emails that will be follow-up emails that are very specific and targeted pain points to property management, right? So it's not about creating something that's a follow-up campaign that says this is how great we are. More so, it's like, these are the hidden things you have to look for in an inspection. What to be careful about with fair housing, how to choose your next property manager, educational, value. You don't have to know that. You don't have to be a marketer. All you have to do is copy and paste and care, right? You have to want to change. And if you don't, that's okay. One day you will, because we only do things for one of 2 reasons, either to move towards pleasure or to move away from pain. Now, which one's more powerful? Somebody say it, be bold. Pain, yes, good job. Pain, more powerful. We move away from pain, right? It's like, well, I could go to the gym and go on a regular basis and eat right, and then that'll make changes, or I had a heart attack. Pain, pleasure, right? Most of us, we wait until like the painful thing happens. So do stuff. The who, right? So AI is your pit crew, your response time, first and fast, right? So you're the human connection. We need the human connection. AI is that pit crew. It shaves off seconds, right? So shaving off seconds off of your time is going to win the race. If a pit crew can change your tires in 3 seconds instead of 4 seconds, like, that's what makes the difference. So having the right tools is key. tell you a story about having the right who on your team, and you may have the right who to get started on this, but you should really designate someone, whether it's you or someone else, because owning the outcome, which we mentioned before and you'll see again, owning the outcome is what creates accountability. Because if it's not clear who's going to do this thing and by when, it seldom ever, it never gets done, right? And then we wonder, we go back, we're like, who did I ask to do that? Like, did they send that to me? You know, like it just gets to be another thing that you have to think about. But if it's very clear, all right, Cindy, you own the outcome on this. If you're the right who, and this is when we want the project to be done by, is that reasonable? Like, let's talk about those expectations. Just clarity, that's all it is. So Maria, she was averaging 2 doors a month, and she had about 200 properties at the time. But Maria had a full-time business development manager. And I'm like, when we first started, I'm like, man, why are you averaging 2 doors a month? You know, you have someone full-time. So then we like kind of took a look at her systems, and I was like, okay, that's why. Because the BDM was having to do a lot more, and other things didn't have clarity on what to do, like wasn't accountable, like there was just a mess. So the answer for Maria, because she didn't have an AI who on the team, she hired Rodolfo. We helped her with that process. We hire virtual assistants and we place them directly. She hired Rodolfo. Now, she hired Rodolfo to implement processes. So if you have a process software, which most don't, but if you had a process software, you can, Rodolfo would implement it. And he did that for 6 months. After 6 months, what happened was they went from 2 doors to 7 doors a month. Onboarding without service, right? It's going to create chaos. Growth without service is going to create chaos. Owners don't care. They want an ROI, right? Tenants don't care. They want their work order filled. Okay. Step 3 here, impact zone 3, service. Okay. Service is important. I'm negotiating right now. Relationship, trust, reputation, right? These things are all important. Spinning plates, it's not easy. It's right, dropping plates. You have all these things, there's this overwhelm, you're anxious. If you get one bad review, you get, if you drop 1 plate, you get a bad review. If you drop 2, you might lose a door, right? Turning reviews into referrals, you get a bad review, you want to have time, mental bandwidth to be able to respond to that. And you can use AI to do that. The tribal knowledge trap, right? We all have it. So we have to get things out of our head. And instead of being people dependent, we have to be process driven. Because, I mean, how many of you said it before? It's like, oh, it's all in my head. It's all in my head. Well, if somebody goes on vacation, you're handcuffed, right? You can't go on vacation. But if you do it right, you can take a 2-week vacation. All that knowledge in one place, your team can just ask AI, have a searchable playbook. So you see the problem, like, let's talk solution. We couldn't find one. So we built one. Meet Betty. Betty documents all of your policies by asking you the questions, because we've programmed her from 2 decades each of coaching and consulting. Betty, who is your company brain, where then your team members can ask Betty instead of asking you, because she has all the answers. And then Betty, who practices for best practices. So your company brain, we built Betty for this solution. This will shift your team from task doers, from babysitting, to leadership, to outcome owners, to getting your time back, to owning outcomes, right? That superpowered team, right? Imagine having all your leasing specialists, your maintenance coordinators, like imagine having them empowered. That's the future of property management. That's the future of business. It's having a team that's not doing checklists, but owning outcomes, right? People that are focused on results, but have the right tool in place. That's what's going to give you that 2-week vacation, right? Not chaos, not rhythm, to build a self-managing team and to work on your business. It's culture and ownership, but recording your meetings with AI meeting notes, but having that in the shared knowledge hub so everybody can find the answers. Whoever's responsible, roles and responsibilities, having it in the AI shared space. So don't wait, because if you lose a quarter, that's just one more quarter that you're behind. It's kind of like if you need something, you can wait to make a decision, wait to do something. But if you wait, you're just prolonging the evident and quite honestly making it worse. So like if your knee's been hurting for like, years, well, you maybe get that knee replacement now, or you can wait till it gets worse. So it's like, do the thing now. So do something now, right? Take action. Don't be the Blockbuster, be the Netflix. Commit to one tool and one thing at a time, right? Don't ask, what are all the things? Don't get distracted by what are all the things, but instead ask the question, what's one thing that I learned today that I have access to that will help me solve this problem, okay? So this is where you start. You scan if you haven't done already, you get this playbook, and this talk continues at my booth after this. So for those of you who believe in time ending at 10:10 or 10 o'clock, this is the end, and this is where we do a standing ovation. Round of applause. Thank you.